So apparently the World Martial Arts Tournament theme booster pack for the actual image for it was leaked or released. One of those. Probably someone took it. I mean, this one looks kind of looks like something from a website, like a store website, and they just kind of took the direct link or direct image source from that. What I think about it real quick, I think it's gonna be really cool. They have Jackie Chun on the side. There also is gonna be a lot of new childhood Goku cards, obviously, since that's part of that's really a big part. I mean, Goku's gonna be a big part of the martial arts theme, and then new Majin Vegeta, hopefully new leader. The other leader's pretty cool, and then probably new Goku. Let's be real here. Another leader. So if I had to peg it, probably four or five more leaders, one of them being Jackie Chun too, and more Krillin, Master Roshi, and some other stuff. So pretty cool. But the whole video, I wanted to make a really quick video on that, and as well as a big sort of issue that's coming along, at least a seemingly big issue, that the game is moving too quickly and they're releasing too much, right? So here's the short answer, as far as my opinion goes. It's not always going to be right? They're not. This is a regular TCG release. We're still in the first year. The end of the year is going to be July for the first year anniversary, and then we're going to be into the second year. Yes, there is some concern for the competitive scene. I think again, on the short term, it's good for collectors, so that way they have a lot of different cards. It's bad for casual people, because if they leave for a couple months and come back, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? And then the competitive scene is always gonna be changing with either new combos or quote unquote broken cards, right? And I've shown that in different deck lists in the past, so check them out. I mean, come on. The long answer, right? So the long answer is that we got to take a look and get some perspective on the schedule and compare it to kind of other successful TCG games. Not saying that this is a well, this is a CCG, but it doesn't matter, it's the same thing. This is a very new sort of game, right? And it's still in its early stages. And if we kind of see the schedule, I mean, you have to realize that Bandai is a huge company, huge company. They do pretty much everything, and they're in charge of a lot of different things. Dragon Ball is one of their big babies, right? And since they wouldn't be releasing so much if they didn't have so much demand. I haven't really found anything as far as demand, but it wouldn't make any sense for them to release so much if there wasn't so much demand. And they're definitely riding the high on Dragon Ball Super because of it. So with the ending of Dragon Ball Super, the new release of the Dragon Ball Super movie that's coming out in the end of the year, and then most likely, I'm not saying this is gonna happen for sure, but next year most likely Dragon Ball Super is gonna start again. I mean, it's gonna be not Dragon Ball Super. I think it's gonna be Dragon Ball something else. Maybe Dragon Ball Super and then like a whole different title with it, right? Just like a trilogy or like a off thing. I don't know. Either way, I think Dragon Ball is still successful, right? And if you take a look at all the releases, so the first anniversary, it's gonna be on July. So it's gonna be like the first release in North America anyway, was last July with Galactic Battle. That was the first series. The fourth series is going to be a year, and that's going to be with the next Overrealm or Cross-World sort of theme going on. And that's going to be in July, right? And between all that, or after all that, we still have the Drac Box, which really didn't introduce anything new, just the same thing with new leaders. The Ultimate Box, which has 105 cards, which 25 of them are just tokens, so nothing crazy there. The theme booster pack, which is releasing this month with 176 more cards. The next draft box, which has new leaders, so nothing crazy there. Theme booster pack, which I just said with the World Tournament, and then the Series 5, which I can't really say what it would be. I think it's gonna be maybe well, I was gonna say Dragon Ball Fusions or something like that, but it might be one of the newer, like the older sagas. Like if they're gonna go with the World Tournament, I think they're gonna go with like Frieza or something major, or do like a Saiyan series. I don't know, like Saiyan Saga or something like that. We're gonna have to see, right? And what I would say is that this is very action-packed and jam-packed, and we got to take a step back to see some perspective. First, the demographics, right? So the demographic for this game, I'll be real with you, is late teens to late 20s, right? And there's gonna be some people who've been in TCGs for a while and moving on to this game who are in like their 30s or 40s. That's normal. That's no problem. I played many people, right? And because of that, because of the demographic, we're not really known to stay or to keep an attention span on one thing. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So because of that, and this is just my opinion, and this is what I've seen, and from my friends and what I've read, not being able to have something to look forward to and not having steady releases is kind of an issue. So if this was, let's say, the theme booster pack instead of May was in August, instead of the series 4 instead of July was in December, right? So we would have to wait a whole, I don't know, almost a year just for the next release since March or February, right? And during that time, this game can die easily. This game can easily die. People will forget about it. People will stop buying it, etc., etc. To keep the hype going, we have to have steady releases. I think they should be at least maybe a half month or month apart. As far as the theme booster pack, this should be in June instead of July. This should be in October instead of September. This should be in November instead of November. This should be in February, etc., etc. I think these should be spread out a little bit more, so that way the meta, the hype, the interest can settle in, and people can find what they want. And the issue is that casual people, again, will not know exactly what's happening, especially if they get out of the game and they can't keep up with the amount of cards they have to buy. And that's an issue. If you're going to be doing a trading card game, you're going to have to make it affordable. And if it's not affordable, paying $80 for a box or $800 for a case, when like a I don't know, a booster pack doesn't really give you too much, and when you buy one, you can't just buy one. You have to buy more. So you get what I'm saying, right? So that's one of the reasons why they do it. But also, again, the double-edged sword is that it might be too much. It might be a little too much. So kind of moving on. And I didn't talk about the starter decks or the special packs. Those are cool too. They're gonna introduce more cards, just like the Super Saiyan 2 GT Goku did, just like Mass Saiyan did, and the blue Goku did, the starter deck Goku. So again, so if we take a look at the numbers, so they're going to be releasing 218 cards, and if we look at all these other ones for series 4, I'm guessing this is going to be 200 cards for series 5. This one's going to be 176 or 180, so forth. All together is going to be about 500, 600, 700 cards this year, not including Galactic Battle and Union Force. And Union Force and Galactic Battle, I believe, if you take a look at it, was 127, and then 114. I think they should have stuck with these numbers. I think 100 and so cards are good. You shouldn't be releasing so much in one set, because that kind of, like, there's 60 commons in this bad boy, right? And there's 60 commons in this bad boy, but the difference is the rare cards, 18 rares, 30 uncommons. So that kind of, that makes a difference, and then so on and so forth. So I mean, for Crossroads, it's kind of the same thing. They did 30 uncommons, 18 rares, and 4 special rares. I think they should have just stuck with 114 cards. Honestly, I think they should have just stuck with that, and then kept the super rares. Uncommons, maybe. I think, yeah, they had the 30 uncommons. I just saw that, yes. But I think what they should have done is just stick with the 114 cards just in general, so that way they can kind of steadily release it but still have something to look forward to. 100 almost 100 extra cards is a lot, right? So if we take a look at or compare it to 3 other successful card games, and 3 most successful card games have been the longest running card games in from what I can see anyway. It's Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and as well as Magic the Gathering. I don't play too much Pokemon or Magic the Gathering. I can't really give you any testimonials on that, but I can say a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh. So if we take a look on Pokemon, right? So if we just look at the English release only, and there were from 1999 in January to let's say, I would say right here, right? Yeah, that's probably a good place to stop. So if we just take a look at that, there's a whole year, by the way. Oh, almost a whole 6 months, half a year before the next release. Take note, Bandai. So if we just take a look at that, like their base set, Jungle, Fossil, all these other ones, there's only 100 cards there, 64, 62, 130, so on and so forth. I think this would probably add up to about 600 cards. About yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Yeah, about 600 cards altogether. About 600 cards, and there are a lot of Pokemon cards. I mean, even now there's a lot. If you take a look and they keep going, there's 186 in the, oh, this is the same one, but 186 in January, and then 182 in May, and I don't think there's, yeah, 3 secret cards. Okay, I was just making sure. Someone's gonna say something about it. But in January and then May, 186. So they upped the ante a little bit, and then they slowed it down. So I think, again, it really depends on the supply and demand. And this thing has been going on since 1999 and kept going, right? So comparing to this, there's about 600 cards. Dragon Ball's looking at about 600-700 cards. It's about, I would say more. I think is a little bit more. Was there a Pokemon competitive scene? I wouldn't know. I mean, I wasn't really too old back then, but I couldn't tell you. But people were definitely collecting it, and this is why Charizards and their mint condition and their special promo releases are like thousands of dollars. Some of them are thousands of dollars. So just keep that in mind. The next one is the Yu-Gi-Oh releases, and the thing is about these is that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh pretty often, right? I used to play it pretty often, I would say. And back in 2002 is when it started released. If you take a look at any of these, I think they're about 100 or so cards, so 105 there. I think 90, 100, 104. I think all of them may be pretty much the same. Last time I checked, 144 there, and then 126. So all together about 400 or 500 cards. And then I think they kept with the same sort of releases. Ooh, Gemini Elf. That brings me back. Yeah, so right there. So about 400 to 500 cards the first year. About 500 to 600 cards most likely in the next year. And then they kept going. There's so many. The issue with Yu-Gi-Oh right now is kind of the issue that people are afraid of for this game, is that the meta will change so much that, again, if you're in 2018, you're trying to play the game with 2005 cards, you're gonna have a bad time. It just won't work out, and you'll get bodied, and you'll be like, why is there a paragraph on that card? So yeah, if we take a look at Magic, so they had the alpha release, beta release, ultimate, unlimited edition, and then it just kind of got a little messy after that. Magic, again, I'm not really, I didn't really follow it too much, right? They are coming out with a new release, as far as I can tell. If someone can tell me, if you play Magic, let me know. Someone can tell me. But if you take a look at just the pure numbers, there were 600 cards in the first year, and maybe not even that. I think there's even more cards since then, because this is August 1993, and then not even until August 1994 they had about, I don't know, 1,200 cards, almost 1,100 cards. So that is something to take note. That is definitely something to take note. And I also hear about land all the time. I can see why, because they're so limited. Anyway, this is something to kind of keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is that back in the 90s, they didn't really have any trading card games. And when they started taking out, Magic was one of the first competitive scene sort of games, and it just worked out. It just like sold out so much. And I don't know if that's happening with Dragon Ball Super. I don't know if it's going to happen with Dragon Ball Super at the end of the year, but that is something to keep in mind. But if you take a look at the sets and compare between the other two, this might give you a good idea of why they're doing it, since it's so early into the game. It is a very early game. That's kind of the biggest thing. And then you can always take a look at how they were spreading out every year. There's a 1 year, 2 year difference, 2 year difference, 2 year difference every single so often. I hope that this game, if it does survive until then, does go into that sort of style or interval, I guess. Anyway, so there's a lot of different games in general. If we kind of take a look at Bandai in general, or Bandai from what they've made already, this might be a little bit bad news for you. If we just take a look at all of these, so there is One Piece, Evangelion, Naruto, which was a huge game back in the day, or at least a lot of sets and a lot of confusion there. Teen Titans, Gundam, Digimon, Ben 10, which was super random, just on that hype, huh? Battle Spirits, so I've never really heard of. And the only two running right now is the Gundam, and as well as Dragon Ball Super, which was released last year, and this was released 2015. So at least that one's still going. But they don't really have a huge track record of successful card games, and they are learning. They are definitely learning. And the thing is that we are learning what we want and what the meta is, and we're creating it, and they're helping us support it through that. And if they break something like Mecha Frieza or whatever, at least they're trying to fix it. Again, my opinion still stands that we still need a ban or rotation list. It just makes sense, especially since that we have so many cards coming out. So by the end of the year, we're gonna have almost close to 1,000 cards, maybe a little bit less, like 900, 800, but I know my numbers keep changing. But when I keep looking at this, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot of different cards out. And I think because of that, a ban list or a rotation, let's say only series 1 and 2 for competitive scene, or series 3 and 4 for competitive scene, or no booster box for whatever for the calendar, etc, etc. If they get into that and actually break it down for that, I think we'll be good. If we don't, then we're gonna have a lot of cards floating around, and we're gonna have a lot of issues because of that. So in closing, I don't think they're releasing too much. I think this is still in the early stages. If we have the same schedule next year, then yeah, they're releasing too much. I think that's no. I think we need to slow down a little bit. And I also think that we need to focus on, why are we even making these cards, and does it help the older players and as well as all the newer players coming in overall. And I also think that I'm still hyped about certain cards. I am still excited to play the game. I'm still happy to play the game, and I think at the end of the day that the game is yours. No matter what, the game is yours, and you can buy or restrict or make your own rules between your friends at any time. And if you remember that and you play it that way, then you're not gonna have any issues. It doesn't matter how many cards there are. You just play the game, okay? Just do your thing, boo, because that's always your choice. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. If you went through this and listened, thank you. I appreciate it. If you are not subscribed already, let me know, and subscribe. And if you're not, if you dislike it, dislike it. If you like it, like it. If you want to continue this discussion, let me know. Leave a comment for me. Until then, I will see you into the next one, or in the next one. Later.